Hey guys, Ziv here, another lovely day. We're here with episode 4, I believe. Today I'll talk a bit about car modifications, particularly torque converter lockup kits and why they should be one of your first modifications. Put it into context, I drive a diesel 4-wheel drive Toyota Prado. I'm sure in sports cars they have something similar, but I'm not familiar with them, so I'm not talking about that. I'm just going to talk about having them in your 4-wheel drive for towing and other reasons. So usually when we get a 4-wheel drive, the manufacturer makes them, they're tuned, the gearbox is tuned to a certain weight and a certain tire size so that it's fuel efficient, all of those sorts of things. But as we know in Australia, we love to load them up with all our equipment, put bigger tires on them, put heaps of aftermarket stuff on them, and then you find pretty much straight away, that was a spider web, that your gear ratios from stock don't work so well anymore. If you put a bigger tire on, which is almost a necessity for any real 4-wheel drivers, you're going to find it'll struggle to find the highest gear at highway speeds, whatever that may be. In my car it's 6th, or it'll hunt between them constantly, and you'll see your fuel efficiency go right up. If you've got roof racks or stuff on and you're on highway speeds, the wind drag, once again, it might be hunting through gears. It could be not locking in because it's not measuring the right ratio. So your car from factory does have torque converter lockup, and I see this with, I've got a scan gauge 2, and you type in your computer codes and it gives you all the readings straight out of your ECU. And I typed in if I had the lockup, torque converter lockup, and I could see it was just off all the time, even when I put it into sequential mode or sport mode or whatever. You know, when you're out of drive with the automatic gearbox and you flick over to almost the manual mode where it's meant to lock in more accurately, it just wasn't. And so that means my trans temps are getting hotter. The torque converter basically is 2 impellers, 2 fans. I'm no mechanical genius, but I'll try to explain it the best that I know how. 2 fans, one blowing into the other almost, and between them is a fluid with a certain viscosity, the trans fluid. And if one is, and it works like a clutch, you know, one that's connected to your drivetrain is going at the speed of the wheels or through the gearing at the speed of the wheels, and one is going the speed of the engine, and it lets it slip a bit through the fluid. So imagine having a fan really far apart, blowing into another fan. That fan's gonna turn really slowly, and as you bring them closer and closer together, they will get closer and closer to matching each other's speeds. So, and the torque converter lockup is basically, it means there's no slipping in that fan. There's a solenoid or something, I'm not sure exactly how it works in there. Gearboxes automatic transmissions are pretty complex, but that's the basic principles. So the factory torque converter lockup settings in the ECU, the electronic control unit, just are tuned for something that your car no longer is, and that's why we chuck one in. Oh, the bit I missed with the impellers spinning, it heats up your transmission fluid. Now you should keep them below 92 degrees. Safe operating is still up into the hundreds, 110 or something like that. I wouldn't go over 110 because that's when you start creating enamels in your transmission fluid, and you're going to have to get them changed more regularly. And it does happen. Before I had the lock-up kit, just with 2 swags on the roof racks and the car fully loaded with the family, water, fuel, everything, yeah, I was getting up to 118, and that's when I went, okay, I have to do something about this. So your choices are: get a external automatic cooler, automatic transmission fluid cooler, which can cool down your automatic transmission temps, or you get a torque converter lockup kit. Now, this is why I prefer the lockup kit to the trans temps. When I installed it, I did it myself. It's a bit scary because you're cutting into the main wiring loom of the car that's going into your computer, and then you're soldering. You're basically intercepting the wiring so that your new torque converter lockup kit can read what the ECU is saying and then send out different information, forcing different things to happen. And they all come with their safety things. I got the MM 4-wheel drive one. I'm based in South Australia, so they're a South Australian local company. Thought I'd support local. Come with all, it's pretty much set and forget. It has all these safety features where it'll disengage the torque converter lockup if, you know, it's sensing certain parameters or whatever. It works in low range. It just doesn't work in first gear in my car because the valve body itself won't allow, in the automatic transmission, won't allow for lockup. There's just no lockup in first gear. You can get modified valve bodies, but and you take them out and then it changes everything again, but that's too far down the garden path. Usually when I'm in low range for the sand or whatever, I'm in second start anyway, so I straight away lock up. And at the low speeds, to avoid, you know, that clunking of it changing the gears, and then that throws error codes into your ECU, you don't want it locking up anyway. So generally it only engages, unless you have it in the sport mode, the manual mode, it only engages over 80 k's an hour anyway. If I'm doing sand driving or whatever, I'll go into manual mode so that I can access the torque converter lockup at the lower gears. So yeah, a bit scary to install, but definitely doable. Wasn't too hard, took me a couple of hours. Comes with all the instructions, so yeah, pretty good. From there, I noticed roughly a 2 litre per 100 reduction just by what it says on the dashboard, which with different tyres and everything, who knows if you can trust that or not. Just by what it says on the dashboard, a 2 litre reduction in fuel efficiency. The highway driving just so much better. Like, you're not hunting between gears, you can just tell the response. Then as well, like engine braking with the trailer on, you got it locked in. The Prado is like the Hilux, it's got a pretty small engine, 2.4 litre, so not too much compression at all, very little displacement there, but you can actually feel it with the torque converter. Without the torque converter lockup, yeah, if the car was empty, you could kind of feel the engine braking working, coming down a hill. You didn't need to step on the brake so much, but as soon as you had a trailer on, it'd just be slipping and you'd need to touch the brakes 100%. But yeah, the torque converter lockup, just straight away you can feel something happening, and you can use the engine braking, which is great as well. The trans temps came right down. I've done a fair bit of driving now, trailer, no trailer, swags on top, everything, and I don't think I've cracked 100. Like on a 40-degree day with the trailer on, and it's a camper, so it's got very little drag. But yeah, I was on, 98, and I was like, geez, that's getting hot. So, I was 20 degrees difference, and the first time that was just with the swags on the roof, no trailer. So definitely way healthier for my gearbox, which is really good. So I haven't tested it at like super hot and prolonged difficult driving. Like if I was in 45 degrees out in the Arkaroola in the middle of the desert somewhere and I was really pulling weight, I think I'd crack the 100 probably. So in those situations a trans cooler would be good. But also if I get a trans cooler and for most of my driving I'm going to be through the city, my trans temps are going to take longer to warm up, and you really want to get your trans warm as quickly as possible. The torque converter also won't activate until the trans temps are above 45 or something like that, when everything is warmed up. Can't remember the exact number, but yeah, it's somewhere around there. So will that help me? Maybe there's trans coolers, I haven't done one yet, that have like bypass valves or something so that they don't activate until the trans temperature's at a certain temp, like your radiator does. But yeah, not sure about that. You guys or I can research that more. But I'm pretty happy with just the torque converter at the moment. I think it's doing everything it's meant to do. For the forward driving, sand driving, anything like that, it's super handy. Like as soon as you hit a soft patch of sand, you know, you torque up, it'll torque up the wheels. Your revs sort of stay the same, but you're losing heaps of power to the wheel, it felt like. Whereas with the torque converter lockup, you know, you just hit that sand and it feels like a manual car. You push more on the accelerator and you can feel that power going through to the wheels. It's just brilliant. Where else has it been handy? Yeah, any sort of, I can't think of off the top of my head. So yeah, I'd suggest chucking one in because I think they're brilliant. Was like, if as soon as you go up a tire size or bolt some stuff on, even a roof rack or something that's going to add drag, and you feel you're hunting gears on the highway or whatever, chuck one in. They're super cheap, super reliable, have warranties. Yes, you might, if you've got a brand new car, you might be voiding your warranty on your car because you're cutting into the loom and affecting the way things work. So I reckon most manufacturers would go, nah mate, you've modified this. So there is that risk. If you're under warranty, maybe don't chuck it in. But also if you're really doing hard yards, you've just bought it, you're going to do a lap of Australia and it's still under warranty, it's probably still worth doing because you are protecting your gearbox at the end of the day. So yeah, and if you put in a transmission cooler, you're avoiding warranty anyway, so either you do nothing or you do something, right? So yeah, that's about it. I reckon get one. It worked great for me, and yeah, enjoy a much better performing and more fuel efficient car for sure. I love it. So yeah, get one in. Cheers, catch ya.